All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Live SEO Support. It's the best SEO live stream on the internet, better than all those other ones that may or
Oh,
may not get more views than us. Ours is
yeah,
still better. We just haven't been properly recognized for it yet. But
yeah.
don't you worry, our time is coming.
Well,
And
we
we're
keep
glad that you're
things,
here. Huh?
yeah, small batch around here. We want quality over quantity. That's why, we haven't been Salesforcing anybody to come watch us. It's all just word of mouth. They're telling their sisters, aunties, uncles about us. They're
Definitely
coming
telling
on
their
in,
sisters.
raising everybody,
Who was
to
that
the
that was
next
actually that
level.
was trying to get me to date their sister, or they
I
mentioned
can't
their
remember.
sister a
It's
couple
it's been a
times?
while. It's been a while. And I guess they watched enough of you to stop promoting that idea.
Yeah, it's probably in their best interest. I forgot to pull up my little thing here. All right, guys. Yeah, you know how it works. Got any questions at all, go ahead and drop them in the chat and we will answer them. We've got some in our little backlog here. We've got some audits to get through. But yeah, any questions at all, doesn't matter how beginner you think they are, how advanced, whatever. Of course, they'll be better if it's SEO related, but you can really ask us anything you want. We're here for your SEO and your moral support as well. Um, let's see what we got going on. I think we'll go ahead and we'll start it with one live stream or one site audit real quick before.
Let's do it, bud. Let's get it. Let's get this show on
Let's
the
make sure we haven't done
road.
this one because I think we redid one on accident.
I don't recognize this one.
Okay. And just bear with us 1 second, folks, and we'll get you a pretty picture to look at while you listen to our very exciting voices.
Mm, mm, mm.
All right. Oops. All right, so there's a picture, and he's got something to say about it as well. He's got a very long message here, so
Oh,
he's
yeah,
a
that
long
is
messenger,
long.
a long
Okay,
messenger.
well,
So
better
yeah.
more details
All
sometimes.
right, I launched my new website at the end of December 2022. The previous owner of this domain, wait, so December 22, so what's it been? Okay, it's been like 8 months. The previous owner of this domain had a small site back in 2005, 2019, then shut down the site. Okay, so it was shut down a few years. Right when we launched, I saw on Ahrefs that we had a domain rating of about 24, which at first was kind of strange since this was a new site. Well, it's not strange because it's not really a new site per se. You're reusing a domain name, right?
Yeah, but in all fairness, yeah, not too much in the form of off-page factors, so not much referring domains pointing at this thing.
So, which at first was kind of strange since this was a new site, but I was assuming it was because of the previous owner's site. Yep, you're right there. We were ranking for keywords right away. Let me try to get some of this off the screen. So, okay, so he was getting some kind of benefit from it because he said he started ranking for keywords right away. It's kind of like getting an age domain, right? Or Google just kind of, I don't know, seems to still like it. So then he says the site was looking great, but then we got hit with the March 15th Google Core update. What is that one, Nick? Can you look while I'm reading this? In
March 18th, you
March
said?
15th in Ahrefs. I mean, it's a Google Core update, so I guess it's just going to be like heat and content kind of stuff. I left
Yeah,
this,
mainly eat.
okay. I left the site alone for 1 month to see if it would bounce back up. Time passed and I took action by building backlinks to the site. Now we are looking better than March and are trending upward. Okay, yeah, I mean, from what we're looking at, you're trending upward very nicely here.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if you really got hit by the March update. It just seemed, well, you did kind of trend downwards after it, but it's definitely not like
Yeah,
a,
I don't.
it's
I
not like
wouldn't
a,
call it.
yeah, It's not like a big, normally when people get hit by an algo update, it's like a huge steep decline. I guess I can
And
show
also
this on
he had,
the screen real quick, but
yeah,
so the
he barely
March update
started.
was right
Yeah.
here. So like, yeah, he did kind of decline after it or whatever, but usually when you get hit by something, it's a lot more straight down than that. But you
Yeah.
had a gradual decline for like a month or so, then kind of just leveled off and then started taking off again. So
I
you build
remember correctly, a
backlinks
lot of smaller sites started kind of falling out of the SERPs during that time period. The stronger sites were kind of taken over.
like always.
Right.
So he started building backlinks. Now we're looking better than March and trending upward. But something that I noticed the other day is that my domain rating dropped from 27 to 11 in one night. Uh, so, okay, I'll just go ahead and say real quick, that doesn't matter at all. Don't worry what your domain
Yeah.
rating is. Worry how Google feels about your site, not Ahrefs. Ahrefs is changing their metrics and how they gauge stuff all the time. Does not matter.
No.
Organic traffic and keywords are still going up, but I'm not sure what has happened with the DR. Have you ever seen something like this? Yep, it happens all the time. Basically, just the way some of the links that you had before, Ahrefs recalculated it and said, we're not going to weight these as heavily as we did before. Also, side note, the domain rating on SEMrush was around 5 when I first launched the site, and now it's at 8 now. I always did find it strange that Ahrefs and SEMrush weren't in the same ballpark. They just have completely different systems, man. Completely different numbers. Don't worry about it. But now they both seem to be around the same number. I'm still going to continue to build links to the homepage and inner pages, but I wanted to check with you guys if you had any insights. Thanks in advance. Hope to hear from you guys. Okay, so yeah, all that stuff about the DR and stuff, just don't worry about it. Don't even look at that number. The only reason we look at that number is like when we're trying to gauge competition very roughly, or maybe when we're prospecting for backlinks, stuff like that. But in general, when you're looking at your own site, don't worry about it. Worry about just adding more content, adding new good backlinks to your website. That number doesn't matter. Watch your rankings go up in Google. That's what really matters, okay? All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and just kind of look at everything. What you want to do is off page first.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't want to do
I
that
kind of
on
looked
page
through
because it's
it.
one of
It's
those.
a real estate
Yeah,
site. There's an IDX. There's
yeah.
all this classic stuff. But overall, I'd say for a real estate site, it looks okay. There's like 800 index pages in
Okay, it's
Google.
not like super big, but
Um,
it is kind of good size.
it looks like
Looks like it's got a blog as well.
everything's pretty much all right. I mean, like, with an IDX, a lot of times you're going to see dirty looking permalinks, but this doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, looks like he's actually, got some H tags in there. He's got one
Mhm.
H1. Looks like got like a little table of contents of the article I'm looking at. Uh, the text, I mean, come on, man, add some images or something. You got like one image at the beginning, but the rest of the article is just a wall of text. The text isn't even broken up into I mean, it's just like each paragraph is like between like 8 and 10 lines, I guess. Let me see if other articles look the same way. Yeah, so articles, your blog articles are lacking big time. I mean, you've got like the basic optimizations done, right? Which is good. You've got like the basics done. So, you have your heading tags, you've got your article title. Looks like you have like the keyword first and everything, like in the title. You've got, keywords in your URL that actually looks like you've added some variation, which is nice. I like that. Um, you got H1s, H2s, but then when it comes to like the article itself, I'm not seeing, actually, no, he does have some interlinking in here. Um, yeah, I am seeing some interlink in the article I'm in. But yeah, it's all just like these walls of text. Go and break up the walls of text with other stuff like images and whatever else. Um, Also, all the interlinking I'm seeing is just in list versus like kind of like actually in like the content itself.
Contextual. Yeah.
So yeah, off to a good start with like the very basic optimizations, but you're gonna want to like make your content like more readable. Like just imagine you landed on some of these pages. I'm on one right now that just has an H1 and then like it's all one section. There's not a single H2 and it's just like a few paragraphs. It's a huge wall of text. It's literally like my whole screen is just full of text.
Are you like in a blog section?
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of his blog posts. under resources, you can find
Oh,
articles.
okay. All right, that's what I was.
Um,
Gotcha.
but yeah, so definitely some stuff you can improve there. Ooh,
I will say that's.
his footer's got like the massive the footer. I mean, the footer has like a million links in it.
Oh, is that gray part of the footer? I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
notice
on
that.
every
I thought it
page on
was
the
just on the
site.
front page. Yeah.
I don't know how much I like that.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but his site's doing well. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. My best advice would be to look at other websites that are similar like yours. See if anyone does this like you that has like a million links in a footer section, um, and
Yeah, because
go
you're
from
you're kind
there.
of doubling up on those community links because you've got the gray section, then the green section,
Yeah,
you've got featured, and then you've got favorite. So a little bit redundant here, and then you could really, I mean, I would think just keep the green section as the footer. That's got
yeah,
everything
the
you
green
need
one at the
right there.
bottom, and then the light one, I'd want to change that to its own page and just link to it from the footer.
Yeah,
You don't need to
yeah,
link to
and I
every
mean,
page on the site from there. You can just link to it from the footer. Or even if you like
yeah,
really want people to go to that, then there's other ways to drive them there than to have it on the footer. Like you could have it
yeah,
something on like a little like sidebar that scrolls down with them, like, oh, check out our featured communities or whatever. Or
yeah.
there's little sections in the article that are highlighted and stand out to try to drive them there. So there's other ways to do it. No one's gonna go down to your footer really and start clicking these little tiny links.
I
um,
would say for crawlability's sake, you could keep it on the home page if you felt like it.
sure, yeah.
But that's probably the max of where
Yeah, maybe like,
you,
I'd see it fine being
just for
like on one
crawlability.
page if it's just like the home page or whatever, could make a good like
Yeah,
section there. Um, but yeah. All right, let's go ahead and move to off page.
yeah.
So, yeah, so I guess I'll just recap what we were looking at on the screen. DR28 with 43 referring domains, which is pretty good, pretty much
Yeah.
shows us that the links that you have are pretty quality for that number. Traffic 1.5K, cool. Definitely climbing. Not at super high levels yet, considering it's an 800 page site, but you have traffic, which is more than, what is it, like 99% of the websites on the internet or something?
In one of the hardest, competition
That's true.
spaces available. Not only is it real estate, but it's also in a very difficult geographic region.
Yeah,
So
so you're doing something
I'd
good.
say you're doing pretty awesome. Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the backlinks. Who's got about 43 referring domains. Let's see how many are
Hmm.
above DR10. Domain traffic above 250. It's a very low bar. We just want to see how much. So he's got
It's
like
good though.
32. So basically like 32 out of
Yeah.
43. It's like 75% of his links are,
Yeah.
that's like
And
a
they're
much
all
higher percentage than we normally do when we apply this kind
yeah.
of filter.
And they're all niche down too. It's
Yeah.
like this is exactly the type of example I want to show 90% of the people that have come and asked us for
Yeah.
audits. It's like this is how you start off with a site.
Yeah, he's
And
doing it.
granted,
He's doing it good.
there's not a lot of pillowing going on here. That's perfectly fine. This guy's just got really niche down quality backlinks with anchors that are not over optimized. Um, it's just yeah, this is a solid start.
Some of this might be some hot, kind of Fiverr stuff now that I'm looking at it, but it is relevant.
Mm,
But it's all these. You'll see where they just list like the domain name at the end of every one. You'll recognize some of the names in here, I think. Um, but anyway,
yeah, some of this stuff at the bottom, but I mean, for the most part, I'd say it still looks
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
good,
it's still
pretty
pretty good.
clean.
It's not the end of the world. I wouldn't disavow them or anything. You're obviously doing well, so definitely don't disavow. But yeah, looking good, looking relevant in there. We say that using some Fiverr links is absolutely fine. I would just move past that and start focusing on stuff that you can't find on like public lists or on Fiverr. But other than that, off page looks good. Anchor text. Let's see. Bunch of branded stuff. Looks clean. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then let's go ahead and check out like his target URL distribution, I guess. a lot to the homepage. Love it. Nothing really too heavy. All right, so yeah, off page looks great. You're totally on like the right path. We don't normally have this kind of like positive criticism for, or not criticism, but positive, uh, this many positive words to say for people that we're auditing. Usually it's kind of like the opposite of this, right? So yeah, I can't remember whose site this was, but whoever it is, this real
You're
estate site, you're doing a great job.
doing good.
Keep it up. I would just improve kind of some stuff on your website or whatever. Make your blog articles better. Make it so people actually want to read them, and rather than seeing just a big wall of text that no one's going to read and bounce off your page. Um, and maybe some more like contextual interlinking rather than the few
Yeah.
little interlinking I saw in these kind of list type things.
We'll say that for real estate, you're going to see a lot of stuff like that where the supporting content is kind of an afterthought and they get pretty lazy with it. That's not to say that you need to do that or that it won't give you a competitive advantage to go the extra mile with your stuff. So, I would say do what Chris is saying and spruce stuff up a little bit, make it slightly better than the competition if they're doing all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, very good. One of the better audits we've seen in quite a while, actually.
Hmm.
So yeah, if any of you guys ever want your sites audited, you can email them to us at info@sirlinksalot.co. We do give priority to paying customers and people that are enrolled in our MLB program. Otherwise, there's a little bit of a wait list, but yeah, you can send your sites over and we'll audit them. And we don't reveal anything publicly. Um, yeah. All right. Let's see what we got here. Looks like we've got some questions in the chat. What's up, Adrian? I feel like I haven't seen you in here in a while. What's up,
Yeah.
guys, on Facebook? Awab, Jair. It looks like we got a lot of people today. Okay. Um,
Haven't seen Pete in a long time either, now that I think about
yeah, I was
it.
actually thinking about that the other day. We lost Pete. Hopefully we didn't discourage him too much
Pete, where are you, bud?
calling Pete. All right. My homepage appears to be cannibalizing my ecom category pages. What is the best approach to fix the issue? Thanks, guys. Yeah, so this is a pretty common thing that happens. It basically means your homepage is over optimized for the keyword terms and your category pages are not very well optimized for them. The main way you fix it is by fixing major on-page things like URLs. Make sure your titles so basically your titles, for your homepage, you can't change the URL, but your title and like your H tags on your homepage, make sure they don't have these keywords for your category pages too much in them, as well as the content as well, but it's mainly kind of like your headings. And then make sure that your category pages are optimized very well for them. URLs, titles, H tags, of course, the content itself. Make sure your category pages aren't like super thin or something. Adding some more content could help out there. And then one of the biggest things is your interlinking. One of the best ways that you can do it is from your homepage. Maybe it can be somewhere kind of towards the bottom or wherever if you don't want to do it in a big displayed place. Is link to your category pages from your homepage with the exact match anchors. And that will hopefully show Google that I do not want to rank this homepage for that. Here's the pages you can find that exact keyword on my website, right? And then of course some backlinks can help as well if you hit those category pages with some backlinks with some relevant anchor text, maybe an exact match here and there, can definitely help out as well. Anything to add on that, Nick?
No, that's about it. I guess the only thing maybe is, a lot of times, especially for people starting out new projects, etc., especially like when they're newer, they'll take on a very niche down kind of approach. So maybe you're selling one specific kind of product and the entire website is revolving around that product. Yeah, it is a little bit harder to make sure you're not going to cannibalize some of these keywords, especially if you're like niching down to like one specific product, which I know some people do, try and snipe like one particular product that they can market out there. Um, if that's the case, then like just make sure you're doing your due diligence and getting in there and actually seeing what the competition is ranking for, how many pages are overlapping in other SERPs, etc. But overall, no. Without knowing any more specifics, I'd say you covered all the bases.
And yeah, it'll probably take a little time, but just gotta kind of let Google figure it out. We'll take one more from YouTube, then we'll go answer some of you guys on Facebook. Hi guys, I have a question. When I buy a guest post with 0 backlinks, is that works? How to build authority to guest posts? Okay, so I'm not sure if I 100% understand your question, but if the guest post domain, the entire website has no backlinks, then I wouldn't want to buy guest posts from that site. But what I think you're probably talking about is your actual guest post. Um, the guest post you bought, the inner page, the URL of the actual post, not the entire domain, doesn't have any links, and that's completely normal because no page has any links as when it's first created, right? Um, so yeah, if you want to boost the authority of a guest post article, you would do that in the exact same way that you boost the authority of anything else, which is you build backlinks to it. But if you listen to me and Nick, we're not really super big on tiered link building. I'd rather just focus on getting links from more quality sites. But yeah, for a guest post, you can expect the page that you're getting the link from to have no links on itself. But the domain overall should have links. The domain itself has a bunch of it, or should have a bunch of authority. So you don't need the individual page to have links to get power from it. But if you do get links going to that page, of course it would help. And the way most people power them up is stuff like cheaper guest posts or like niche edits or something like a PBN link or whatever. But some guest post sites don't like you spamming their guest post with links because a lot of people spam. They might spam the guest post with bad links, and if everyone's doing that, then their entire website's gonna have a real spammy backlink profile, and then no one's gonna want to get links from them anymore, and it might hurt their rankings and whatever else. Um, yeah. Anything else to add on that, Nick?
Yeah, so, you know, in regards to the first thing, saying that, obviously you wouldn't want to buy or spend a lot of money on guest post, like where the URL doesn't have any referring domains pointing at it, or not many,
You mean the domain
because typically
overall?
it's yeah, because typically it's not cost effective, right? But I will say that I remember early on when I was procuring PBNs for a specific website, and it was one of like my first projects. I remember I was really stressed out about this. I bought like 3 or 4 PBNs with less than 5 referring domains going to them each, but they were all hyper relevant to a specific geographic region. And I remember getting that to rank in the middle of page 1 for a pretty competitive term using just those PBN links. And now, mind you, this is like close to 10 years ago, so probably a little bit more wiggle room there. But I got stressed out and thought I was being sandboxed, even having been on the first page, just because, I was newer and stressing out about everything. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to move up from here. So I removed all those links. So that page dropped out completely from the SERP. So if you can get them cheap enough and you're in a specific market where it seems reasonable that just the content or what this site's purpose is to do is relevant enough to you, then it can sometimes help. So don't discredit real low end links if you can get them for dirt cheap if they are niche relevant. But yeah, just something to look out for there because I remember being pretty surprised by that when I was a lot newer to SEO. Um,
If they don't have many referring domains, do not pay
Yeah,
much.
don't pay much at all. I mean, I wouldn't even be looking for these specifically, but it's
Yeah,
just
I
like if
wouldn't
you
either.
can get one, like let's say you're in a metro with sub 10,000 people, right? And you're selling
Sure.
real estate in there.
Insanely low
Yeah,
competition.
then getting a mom and pop shop, to send a referring domain from their website that's never gotten a single backlink, but that's been up for 10 years, can still,
Well, they'll have some kind of
yeah.
backlinks, even if it's just spam kind of pillow link type stuff or
Yeah.
whatever.
But yeah, so anyhow, just a little bit there. And then yeah, if you're going to power up a guest post or a niche edit or something, I would advise stressing that you don't spam out those inner pages. Google can read that, so don't go to Fiverr and buy a bunch of random spam to send to a perfectly good guest post. If you're going to do tiered link building, then like Chris said, use the cheaper niche edits, cheaper guest posts, higher and stuff like that. Maybe a PBN here and there.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and even go further and I'll say, just don't power them up. Just for someone asking this question, just focus on getting more links from more different websites. Don't worry about trying to power up your guest post. Just try to get links from websites that have some authority. Don't worry about how many links the page has. Just to increase your referring domain count. You're gonna do just fine. You don't gotta do anything fancy to power them up. All right. What will be your suggestion for a link building campaign for an average local SEO campaign? Yeah, so like every website, in the beginning, just start with some what we call pillow links. This can be stuff like, Web 2.0s, can be stuff for local. Obviously, you're going to want to do citations. You can even do some stuff like blog comments or forum posts. Don't go by the spammy stuff. Just try to, you can pick up a couple like actually decent ones or do them yourself. What else we got? You could start, of course, do like social profiles, for make sure they have social profiles set up. But other than that, you'll just start building stuff like guest posts or niche edits to their homepage kind of slowly, just like we advise for any other kind of link building campaign. The thing with local campaigns is you're also going to want to get some local links. So, for example, at Sir Links a Lot, we're a link building agency. We do not specialize in local backlinks. We specialize in links that are kind of like these national or kind of like international type websites, rather than like stuff that is really like a business kind of, or doing business or talking to people in a very specific geographic location. So for that kind of stuff, you could go find stuff yourself, or you could, of course, get someone, try and find some kind of provider that does local links like that. And you don't have to, not everything has to be local links, like I was saying. It can be like a little bit of a mix. Just make sure you have some, because that way things will look more natural for Google. And in general, also, I would say keep an eye on your competitors' referring domain counts. Look how many referring domains your competitors have, and don't try to go like too crazy. You can get more links than them, that's fine, but like don't like try to do some like crazy stuff and like spam your site out with like super unnatural backlink profile, this super aggressive kind of stuff when it's not needed. Of course, it's not good for your pocketbook, but it also just doesn't look natural to Google as well. Yeah. Am I missing anything there?
Well, I guess just something I want to touch on is, if you're starting an SEO campaign, I would say get the idea out of your head that anything is like average. Like every campaign is unique to itself. So at the very least, even if most local campaigns do start off, you're getting your content up, specific for services, areas served, etc. It's a basic build for a local site. Then you're getting your citations, some pillowing going on, some local relevance if you can get that. But like Chris said, you're going to want to get in there and make sure that you're not over optimizing, for your specific geographic region. So if that's a plumber in a small metro, look at what other plumbers have on average, the back end, the size of their site, etc. And it's not necessarily true that you've got to match that exactly, but you want to kind of stay around those levels so you don't blow anything out of proportion or make anything look unnatural. But I think that saying stuff like for an average SEO campaign in general, don't start off with that. Start off with, all right, I'm doing a local campaign. Here's my competition. Here's what the SERPs look like. Here's some data on, who's ranking for these particular terms. And that's what I'm trying to execute on, right? So everything is going to be specific to the data that you're actually combing in these particular SERPs.
Cool. All right. I'm a blog writer. I only have very few visitors on my websites. I'm demotivated. I did Google Tags and Google Console initially. I shared on LinkedIn, but there's no progress yet.
Yeah.
Google Tags. Okay, so yeah, you're at the very beginning. This is normal. We were just talking on someone else's question. I think it's something like 90 or 95% of the websites on the internet get no traffic, meaning nobody goes to them ever. And so this is where you are. You're in the 90 to 95% right now, and that's completely normal. this is where it starts. You cannot put a website on the internet and start getting traffic. It's just not how it works. So we're not going to really be able to give you too much help other than to kind of outline the very basics for you, and to point you where you can go to continual learning to try to improve and actually get some traffic on your website, right? So first of all, you're going to want to make sure you're doing on-page SEO, which means that, I guess we'll start with keyword research. You're going to want to make sure that you've actually done keyword research and you're targeting specific pages on your website for specific keywords, right? Other than that, after you actually get an article, you're going to want to do on-page SEO to it, which is kind of these very basic optimizations like changing your URL or your title tag or H1s or your H2s or just the content on the page, making sure that it's well written and all that. So make sure your content is good and optimized. And then the third thing is just backlinks, off-page SEO, building backlinks to your website. This is the main way that Google gets crawlers on your website, and people building backlinks to your website shows Google that they like your website, they like your content, and that other people should check it out. So basically, Google uses that to gauge popularity. This is going to take some time. This is going to take a lot of effort, a lot of learning. Ask for links a lot. We can help with backlinks if you have a backlink budget. Other than that, you can do everything yourself. All this stuff you can do yourself, and it'd actually be good to do some of it yourself to kind of learn what's going on. But just know it's going to take some time. It's completely normal, and yeah, we're here to help. So what you can do after this is, if you're not already, you can join us in our, actually I think you're in our Facebook group. I think that's where we got this message. You're in our Facebook group, which is very good. If you ever have any questions in there, you can go ahead and ask us in there. We'll help you out, as well as our other group members. And always, join our live streams, and you can ask any kind of questions at all, and we'll give you kind of more in-depth answer than maybe a comment on one of your posts in the group, right? Welcome to SEO. Welcome to trying to rank your website. You can do it. You just have to stick with it. It's not impossible. I promise you that. What do you got to say, Nick?
First off, if you are, feeling a little demotivated, a little bit down in the start of your SEO career, know that everybody that I've ever known that's been in SEO has gone through that. And in these down times, it's a good time to start thinking about, well, okay, a lot of times, and this goes for me too, I thought SEO would be kind of a quick endeavor, a good way to like quickly get into some money, et cetera. And it's not the case. You've got to learn, there's a lot of different variables that you've got to learn how to prod, inspect, et cetera, in order to be successful at SEO. And if you're demotivated, it's going to be even harder because you're not going to have what I think is sort of like this internet wanderlust to comb data and go through it and kind of digest it and see what norms are when it comes to ranking things in search. So a lot of times what I would say to a newer SEO that wants to learn SEO but is definitely feeling a little bit, cold to the endeavor, especially as you're continually getting slapped with new algo updates, you're continually being confused with conflicting information, etc., is learn something that goes hand in hand with SEO in response to trying to drive traffic. So learn how to utilize social media engagement to push people to your website. Learn how to run ads to push people to your website. Learn how to optimize, pages so that they actually convert. There's all sorts of things that you can do while you're prodding with SEO and really learning, recipes to success that will also, get traffic to your site as you're, working on everything in unison.
All right. I've got clients who want to rank for luxury safaris in Botswana. They don't own any safari lodges or camps. They're more of a middleman. SGE just recommends actual lodges. Should they still target this? So I wouldn't really worry about SGE at this point. I just looked up the keyword, and there's other middlemen essentially targeting the keyword as well. I'm assuming that it's probably a pretty good, nice, lucrative keyword. If you are worried about SGE, what you can also do is try to target some kind of long tail stuff, stuff that's not the direct keyword but is related or close to it or just longer. And maybe you can find SERPs that don't have SGE or whatever there to try to squeeze in. But yeah, you could still absolutely target that. There's a lot of people targeting it that are middlemen as well, so can you. Anything to add on that, Nick?
No, sounds right.
Cool. Um, uh, Fuar says, what do you think about the next Google Core update that's happening now? I guess I will. I wasn't going to even put it up here, but I guess I will. What do you think about the next Google Core update that's happening now? So today is August 23rd, and there's a new Core update rolling out. And it's the talk of the town. Everyone's saying Google Core update, and they're screaming, and everyone's scared, and you know how it goes. But when we look at sensor on SEMrush, what you can see here is that even though there's a core update happening right now, I guess it is the first day. You can even see the little G down here. So it is the first day, but basically things cannot get much unless they're gonna have to like retool their entire sensor. Maybe we're about to like break all the sensors and everything's just gonna go to like 10. And it's like a level of volatility that the internet has never encountered before. And yeah, all the sensors like Algoroo and SEMrush and whoever else are all gonna have to redo how they gauge everything
Yeah.
and make their sensor taller essentially so it can measure higher volatility. Um, but yeah, so as of right now, I don't care about it at all. I haven't looked into it at all. It's just I'm this way with pretty much every algorithm update. I'm I just don't care for the first like week or two, and then one thing, you might see some volatility, and you're like, oh well, I'm gonna have to look at stuff eventually. But I do not rush to try to figure things out because you're not gonna figure it out, and there's just really not much you can do at this point. It is interesting. I want to see what's going on, but the funny thing is the volatility has been so high for so long right now, and no one even talks about this anymore.
No.
Like
Yeah.
no one's
Out the
trying to figure
window.
it out. No one is saying anything about it. We're just still talking about like AI content and whatnot. But meanwhile, the entire internet is just like burning down essentially. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm not worried about this volatility here. I'm not worried about the new algo update. And yeah, we don't know anything about it at this point in time, and we haven't really looked into it. And I would recommend you don't worry about it either until about a week or two, and then kind of trying to find some, by then some people might start talking about it. You might find some like good articles and stuff once people that are smarter and have more time than me and you, um, yeah, actually put some stuff together, and you can kind of go from there. But for right now, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Cross that bridge when we get to it.
And just got to roll with the punches. I will say that over the last couple of months, I've seen some smaller sites that got really smashed down a few months back, coming back and crawling back up, including some of my own, which I was kind of
Yep,
happy
that
about. But yeah,
happens.
we'll see what's going on now. Whenever you're getting slapped with endless changes, all you can really do is roll with the punches. If you start stressing out and changing too much, then you're really not going to be able to analyze all the variables going into play at that point in time.
Yeah, definitely don't like start doing anything crazy right now.
Yeah,
Like even if you got like drops or whatever, just
yeah.
keep doing the good stuff. Keep adding new good content. Keep revitalizing your old content. Keep adding new good natural backlinks. Like keep doing all the good stuff. Don't do anything wild. Don't make any crazy big changes right now. Just keep doing the good stuff. And once more information becomes available, maybe there'll be something for you to do. But for right now, it's just chill out and wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, all right, looks like Jahir asked the same question over on YouTube as well. Let's see. Since PBN is getting more sophisticated, I am sure guest post farms are going the same way. Is there a good way to tell a real website from a farmed backlink? You just want to look at things like the quality of content that they're putting out. You can go and look into like some of the stuff the website is like even like ranking for. See if like the website has some kind of like purpose. Like what's the website actually doing? rather than posting content, right? Um, let's see, PBN is getting more sophisticated. But there are guest post farms out there, and post farms aren't really the end of the world. Like, you can still get some guest post farm links and be okay. What I'd really stay away from the most is unhealthy sites, sites that Google isn't allowing to rank for anything, sites that publicly display that you can build links on their website or like write for them, stuff like that. Sites that are advertised on kind of like public lists, stuff like on Fiverr, stuff like that. Basically, sites that have like zero kind of editorial process and just let like anything go. These are like the main things you want to look at. Other than that, if you want to get like super, super, super duper like clean and get like links that like are really hard to get, what you can do is you can, when you're doing a guest post outreach, you can search, when you're doing like your normal search for websites to add to like your list or whatever, you can add in stuff like, you can use Google search operators and add stuff like the word like services. And what this essentially does is it lets you find websites that are also selling some kind of service. So they actually have something to their business that's not just posting content, right? And so in this kind of way, you're actually finding these like super legit businesses who have a blog, but they actually have this other stuff they're trying to sell as well. And in that way, you can find links that are usually much harder to get, and they're going to be much harder for you to get as well. So generally these kind of websites will just ignore a lot of the emails and stuff. But you can still get them, and you can still, you just have to go about it, and maybe the way you normally do your outreach won't work. You have to be a little more sophisticated, try a little bit harder, approach it with a higher level of quality. But it's definitely doable. Anything to add on that, Nick?
Just that, yeah, the concept of the PBN getting more sophisticated, that's been in existence for a while. Like I'd say even when I first started getting into PBNs about like 10 years ago, there was already a need to kind of insulate your sites differently. You couldn't just do, basic blog rules with no formatting, etc. You did want to kind of build this full picture that I always thought looked a lot like the farmed guest post model. And yeah, there's going to be things that you can look up that are definitely going to blatantly say, okay, this website's being farmed out. Like Chris said, write for us. If you go to any article and they're using a bunch of stock images, there's maybe a couple of links that go to like Wikipedia and then one that goes to some small affiliate website, and you're just seeing that over and over again, etc. That's the case for a guest post farm. But like Chris said too, um, farmed guest post isn't necessarily a terrible thing. I mean, you wouldn't want your entire backlink profile to be made up of that. But so long as you're insulating your site with good links from higher end places like our guest posts and niche edits, then you can get away with using some of that as well. I will say that our new PBN that we're about to roll out makes guest post farms look completely obsolete. This is something completely new that we're doing.
I wouldn't
It's
say that,
basically,
but it
well,
is cool.
I mean, it's
It is very
redefining.
good.
It's redefining. Nobody else has a PBN like this available right now.
But yeah, the guest post farms, they actually get like a lot more like traffic to them and stuff.
Yeah,
It's much more of like a live. It's alive. We'll say that it's alive.
I mean, that's not really true. If you go through a lot of Fiverr guest post sheets, like you're going to
Well,
come to
not
find
those.
that
I
a
don't
lot of
count
them are
those.
just sitting down.
I don't count those.
I mean, that's what I'm talking about, guest post farms.
Okay. I thought you just meant
And
guest post.
if you're looking at our PBN, it's all, they're not just blog rolls anymore. Like they're all real looking sites that operate differently. And as we add to them, as more content goes up on them, I would expect them to get more traffic, etc. But I would say, in comparison to like, especially like a Fiverr or other marketplace like that, guest post farm, the new PBN we're rolling out is far more sophisticated.
For sure. It'll be fun. And hopefully we'll have that released for you guys here in the next like week or so. I've got a bunch of cool updates. Um, Yeah, I'll just say this right now. Go check out our domains right now. Go check out domains. You might see a little something in
Yeah.
the list. We haven't fully rolled out the announcement or anything yet, but go check out our domains
Yeah,
right
there's
now.
a few more available.
All right. And I'll just add one more thing. What was I going to say? Um, Yeah, so like the distinction when you try to like when you actually try to draw the line between a guest post farm and a normal site, it starts to get like very blurry in the middle of like what's a guest post farm and what's a site. Because there's a lot of good websites that monetize or partially monetize with guest posts.
Right.
So I'll just reiterate kind of some of the very first stuff that I said, which is the at the most basic level, just look for stuff that Google likes, and that means it's getting some traffic. It's actually ranking for some keywords. Look for stuff that of course, relevance is good, but we're kind of talking about something different here. Um, Look for stuff that's not just blatantly advertising that you can get guest posts on their website. Look for stuff that's not advertised on public lists. Um, other than that, it can get pretty blurry in the middle with a lot of stuff. But if you just look for that stuff along with just normal link building kind of best practices, you're gonna be just fine. All right. Let's see. Hello, Mad Cow. You're welcome, Ryan. I'll take one more over on YouTube, then we'll go back over to Facebook. Leading on from what Ryan said about SGE, should we be very concerned about getting a traffic cut with the release of SGE in theory in 2024, or is it more likely that most users will avoid SGE? Yeah, so this is something we've talked about a decent amount before, and I'll just kind of give you this actually, what I'm about to say applies to pretty much any new thing going on in SEO, any kind of core update, anything at all. Never worry too much about things until they actually happen and you can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to end up wasting a ton of time and maybe even make some big mistakes because I forget, I think I was actually, like everyone else, I've been listening to Alex Hormozy lately because, everyone's talking about him. But he had this cool thing that he said. Oh my God, I just blanked on it. But anyway, or he said humans are very terrible at predicting future outcomes. And another thing he was kind of talking about is just like stop focusing on like new stuff and just focus on like what's working. So focus on what's working right now. Don't worry about the new stuff too much. Keep an eye on it, of course. You don't want to just be completely blind and not paying attention to it at all. And I would expect that we'll lose some traffic when SGE rolls out. But as far as it stands right now, I'm actually not afraid of SG at all. It's slow. You can skip past it. And at the end of the day, people I think are going to understand that asking AI for this stuff, asking AI for a lot of stuff is not a good way to go about things. It's good for a lot of things, but I think what it's best for is actually doing things. I don't think it's good for like telling you what to do. It can be good for like content. It can be good for like some answers. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, especially like SGE, if they're using like live results and stuff, it's very resource intensive and yeah, it's slow. You can be skipped past. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are gonna just look for the kind of these like trusted actual voices rather than the computer telling them what to do. But yeah, anything to add on that, Nick?
No, that's yeah.
Cool. All right. Yeah, you'll save a lot of time not worrying too much about stuff until it happens and seeing what goes on. There's been so many cases of things that were going to be so huge, and then there's just like oh my God, what was like one of the last ones? It was like Core Web Vitals, and people were like, oh my God, this is like it could be crazy, and they're like all the posts in the groups like, oh, I got this score, I'm doing this and this, here's my
Gonna
guide, here's
nail
my
it.
podcast about it, I'm talking like, and it's like all of this time was wasted, and then it rolls out and it's just like nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, it's like marginally important. You want to make sure you're not like horrible, but it's like it was like the same thing as like like page speed stuff. Like just don't be horrible,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be fine. But yeah, you'll do good if you just kind of don't pay attention to stuff for a while. Um, All right. Let's see. I was advised to avoid backlinks from random websites since they might be spam. I don't know what you mean by random. What does that mean? Random. Like I see a random person on the street. Well, I see random websites like every day. We do outreach to random websites
How do
all the
you
time.
avoid them too if you're not asking for
Yeah,
backlinks?
what's
They're just sending
random?
them to you, right? Like naturally you're
Yeah,
getting backlinks and you're like, "Ooh, don't want that one." I would advise, in that case, you don't ever want to disavow, like you don't, what's the
yeah.
term? You don't hit a gift horse in the mouth or something, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know quite what he means by it either. Random
But yeah,
websites.
maybe if you're just talking about like websites that aren't related, maybe you mean like not
Mm,
relevant. And if that's what you're talking about, then it's a little bit of a. So basically, some people when they first start learning about link building, they read that, oh, my links need to be relevant, and yes, your links do need to be relevant, but they take this the wrong way and they think that the website that the link is coming from has to only post content related to that, which is honestly ridiculous. There's levels to relevance. You can get, for example, you can get sentence level relevance. You can get paragraph level relevance. You can get article level relevance, and then you can get domain level relevance, where like the entire domain just posts about that. All of these things can benefit you. All of them can be good. Just make sure that the link that you're getting like makes sense, basically, and that the website that's posting about it, maybe they post about content related to that topic as well, and not just that one article, right? Um, Other than that, I think a lot of people have a very they have misconceptions about relevance. Like if you want like an extreme example of this, go check out the link profile for Backlinko. What Brian Dean likes to do is make these kind of like statistics posts. Basically, he makes these link bait articles that attract reporters when they're trying to get information to write articles about stuff. And the links that these pages get when people use information in them are insane. Like just you're talking like DR like 90 plus, like DR like 95 plus, like just insane links. And for example. Like maybe he gets a link to his SEO website, website about SEO, and he gets a link from American Express, a do follow backlink from American Express. Would you take that link from a DR like 90 whatever website or not because it's quote random and not relevant? I would take that link all day, every day. But just try, just make sure it makes sense for when people are linking to you, and you're gonna be fine. You don't gotta overthink it. Don't worry about spam. Just worry about building backlinks from websites and articles and stuff that make sense to link to you. Anything to add, Nick?
just that if you're insulating things well, let's say you're buying backlinks or you're running viral campaigns, whatever, then you should be accruing enough high quality stuff to offset any spam if it does so happen to come in. That's another way to just stay ahead of the curve is to insulate yourself by procuring high quality backlinks and not worrying so much about that.
Yeah, and even if you do mess up in the beginning and
Yeah.
you accidentally build some kind of like spammy stuff, some real low quality stuff, it's not really the end of the world anymore. Unless you do like a bunch of exact match anchors or real aggressive anchor text at the same time, then you might kind of get yourself in some trouble.
Right.
But in general, if you're kind of being more natural with your anchor text and you get some kind of like spam links or whatever, maybe you didn't know what you're doing. Google these days pretty much just like ignores stuff rather than penalizing for it. So you just don't really need to worry about it too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Hey, Lucian, what's up, man? All right. Do you suggest me how to get backlinks for my writing website? You get backlinks for your writing website the same way you get backlinks for any website, which is first of all, there's some backlinks that anybody can build. We call these types of links pillow links. We are a link building agency, so that's our job. We build backlinks for people. So you could check out our website for all this stuff. Or, pillow links, it's generally stuff you can build yourself. It just takes a bunch of time and you have to know how to do it all. But pillow links is stuff like Web 2.0's, social profiles, maybe forum backlinks, maybe blog comments, maybe like some citations. It's basically, it's essentially user-generated content, stuff that anyone can make, some audio links, some video links, like YouTube links, stuff like that. Anyone can do it, just take some time and effort and you know how to do it. Other than that kind of stuff, the stuff that you're mainly going to be focusing on is links from actual kind of like websites, right? And this is stuff like, an actual, like someone else that has a website, maybe they have a blog on it. And the way you get links on these websites is through a process called outreach. Outreach is exactly what it sounds like. It's reaching out to people. It's lots of emailing. This is how we make our money as a link building agency. This is the process that no one wants to do, but everyone has to do to rank. So yeah, if you don't want to do it, you can pay a provider like us. Otherwise, you can do it yourself. It does take a bunch of time and a little bit of know-how. You're going to want to, basically get an email address, like warm it up. You're going to have to send a bunch of emails and not get marked as spam. You're going to have to follow up with these people. You're going to have to find sites to reach out to. You're going to have to analyze their metrics or whatever. You're going to have to negotiate with them. So it is a cumbersome process, but you absolutely can do it on your own if you don't have the budget to come to someone like us, a link building agency. Other than that, another thing a lot of people do is Haro. That's called Help a Reporter Out. They send out 2 emails a day, and you can basically it's reporters looking for information to help write their articles. And if they ask a question and you answer it and they like your answer, they will give you a link to your website. But usually the links are no follow, or a lot of times they're no follow, and they're usually like to your homepage with like real natural anchors, like branded or a URL anchor to your homepage. But yeah, that's the main ways. Pillow links, it's kind of user-generated type stuff, but it's not super powerful, but it's natural. Other than that, outreach could be stuff like guest posts or niche edits. And then you got stuff like Haro. Yeah, anything you would add to that, Nick?
The only thing I could say is, and it's something that we're not well known for over here in the sense of, how we like to run our SEO campaigns or talk about them. But, if you're a writing-based website, write some engaging content, get out there and share it. You can
True.
procure backlinks the white hat way,
Yeah.
which is just something that we don't talk about too much. But, saying that you're a writing-based website, maybe you've got some actionable advice for people, or you're, writing something that, people want to read about. That kind of stuff can get shared naturally, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, that's I shouldn't have left that out. I'm
well,
just
it's
more
just
focused
funny.
on building
We
rather.
don't think
Yeah.
about it a lot of
Yeah.
the time.
You can build like link bait articles, like I was talking about in Brian Dean, on Backlinko, where he creates these articles that attract reporters with like statistics and stuff. You can rank those, but he also has like a high enough domain authority to rank those in the first place. So you need backlinks to rank that essentially before you can get the free backlinks from it. But yeah, writing good content. If you actually write like really good content on your website, you'll eventually get some backlinks from that as well.
Right.
But your site needs to kind of be seen first, so it can help to kind of build some manually, even if you want to be like super white hat. But yeah, I think we pretty much covered that. It's a very big question, and we can definitely help you out more along your way. So be sure to join us in our Facebook group, SEO Roundtable. We're in there every day answering questions. You can post a question anytime, and we'll answer it, as well as our thousands of other group members. But yeah, you got a little bit of a way to learn. I'm not trying to like not answer your question fully. It's just a very big question, and we could talk about this for like literally like hours or like days. So, yeah. Let's see here. All right, we've got a couple more over here to answer. Guys, any questions you have left, go ahead and drop them in the group. We are starting to run out of time, but we've got a couple questions left here to get to. What's the best process for internal linking and external linking? Are there any processes you adopt to optimize this workflow? So for internal linking, some people will use Link Whisper, and I use it sometimes too, but actually I don't think I'm going to be paying for it anymore moving forward. I just feel, it depends on the project. Link Whisper can definitely help automate stuff, but it's not perfect. The best thing to do is, and you can also use ChatGPT to help with this. You can give ChatGPT, say, hey, here's my new article, just give it the URL, or you can just go by page titles. Anyway, give it, say, here's my new article, here's my existing articles, which ones are like the most closely related to this? And then you could go from there and try to like link to those from that article. Or you could do it in the same way. It's like, here's my existing articles, here's my new article. Which of these articles would it make the most sense to, or which ones are the most closely related to link back to my new article? So you can use that to kind of speed things up a bit. Also not perfect. The best way to go about things is to actually to know the website very well and kind of know like the topical clusters that are going on the website and do things like that and do things like totally manually. It will always be better to do stuff like this. So that's the best way. And if you're talking about external linking to like actual external websites, then yeah, I don't really have a process for that either. If you ever use like any kind of like information that your site, you actually got info from somewhere else, which you should, because it helps like engagement a lot, helps your content quality. You can just cite where you got the information from. That's always a good way. Of course, like Wikipedia is a good way. What I do a lot of the time when I'm looking for external link targets is I'll just like I'll start reading my article and I'll just look for stuff that's like that's not something I'm ever going to want to rank for. I'm like, oh, I could link to a website about that because I don't want to link to like competitors or whatever. But yeah, I don't have like a super duper process for it. As far as I know, internal linking is one of the harder things to automate. I don't think I've seen any kind of good solutions for it, and it has been something I've been looking around a decent amount for. But I don't think there's anything very good right now other than basically what I've talked about so far. Link Whisper, you could use ChatGPT. Best way is just to do it yourself. Link to stuff that's the most closely related in that topical kind of cluster. Anything to add on that, Nick?
Well, I lost you a little bit because my son was telling me he couldn't grab the egg, which I don't know what that means other than
Well, tell him
he's
good.
a
He's not supposed to be
chicken.
grabbing that egg.
Oh yeah, but that means he's got one.
So I
Anyhow,
was basically saying Link Whisper, but it's not
yeah,
perfect.
yeah, I heard that.
Doing it
So
yourself's the best way, and then you can use ChatGPT to help as well, but of course it's not
yeah,
perfect.
all those are great. I mean, if I'm outlining or if I'm building out a site, then I'm going to have some sort of Excel file that's going to list all my pages. I might even, break those down into specific categories just so that they're easier to follow. But like Chris said, like I use Link Whisper, but I don't automate anything through it. I'm mainly just checking out the data that it sources and saying, oh yeah, that's a good idea. And then typically I'm just going in and I'm pulling some of the pages that it says it likes, but that's on bigger sites that maybe you've blown out a little bit or you started working on, um, after they've been running for a while and have 1,000 index pages or something like that.
The very unpopular answer, but I'm going to stand by this, is doing it yourself is the best
Yeah,
way. If
yeah,
you take on a new project, let's say it's even a huge site for a new client, map out their website, map out what their content looks like. This is doing SEO.
yeah.
This
It's
takes,
boring,
yeah,
but it is the job.
it takes time and effort. You could hire some extra help, especially if it's a big site. It could take a significant amount of time to do this kind of stuff. But actually diving in, mapping it all out yourself, figuring out how everything is related and what the clusters are and what should be linking to each other, where you're driving that traffic, is the best way to go about it. All right. Follow-up question for real estate websites. Is it cool if I externally link to attractions, malls, and whatnot? Yeah, I don't see why
Yeah.
not. That could make sense, especially from a real estate website, because you're saying, okay, well, in this area, there's this mall, there's this to do, there's whatever. Yeah, that's absolutely okay. I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to link to them. I wouldn't say it's like super duper necessary. I mean, yeah, it can. just think about like, would a user get value from this? And yeah, the answer to that is users absolutely would get value from that on a real estate website, because if they're looking in an area and they don't know much about it, they can say, oh, well, okay, this stuff is in that area, and they can go and check that out and be like, oh, I really like this. It's a nice area. So not only would I say, is it okay, I would say it's probably actually a really good idea. Um,
Yeah.
anything to add to that, Nick?
No, I mean, well, I mean, that's a common tactic that real estate sites use, right? Because they're looking for an edge in a specific geographic region, which oftentimes is talking about attractions to that specific area or
Mm-hmm.
things to do, etc. Um, I think, maybe if you're asking this question, you're worried about, quote, wasting link juice or something like that, sending out
Don't worry
links
about it.
to, yeah, don't worry about that at all. If anything, I would say it's an indicator that your information is actually trying to help
Yeah.
a user out. So to me, using authority backlinks to specific things is the same as like internal linking. You want to have it make sense, at least like, to a certain degree. So yeah, with your authority outbound links, I think doing this would be a great practice.
Yeah, so when you're doing external linking, the only question you should answer is, will this help users? If
Yeah.
it helps the users, you can absolutely do it, and you should do it. You don't want to get to the point where you're like spamming out your page where like everything's a link and it makes it like unreadable and whatever. So, use a little common sense or whatever, but if it helps the user, then absolutely link to it. And like Nick was saying, it, for stuff in the geographic location or whatever, it also helps Google kind of like tie all this stuff together and say, oh, this is all related, and it helps them kind of like understand what you're trying to do and what's going on. I guess like the one thing I would be a little careful for is linking to your competitors. But even then, you can link to your competitors. Even huge websites link to their competitors. The things I guess I would be more careful of are like linking to pages that you um, are going to want to rank yourself, like basically ranking to like competing actual like pages. Um, and especially, I would not link to a competing page from the exact page you're trying to rank as well.
Mm.
That would be like the biggest no-no, I guess. But other than that, it just try to help your users, and you're going to do just fine. All right. All right. So this is a follow-up from a question from last week, I think. It says this Search Console of non-indexed pages of that expired domain. The site is still not getting traffic. The articles are not getting indexed. The same site from last week, it was indexed but not appearing in the SERPs. It had only been 1 week. So now it's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. It's not getting traffic. It's not getting indexed. Expired domain. And he had a little picture as well. I don't know if I can put this up. Um, I'm actually not a big Search Console person, so I don't even know if I'm going to be. Have you seen this stuff where it says like not started? So you can see on my screen, Nick. And
Barely.
well,
I'm
basically,
waiting for
it's
it to
like
show
saying
up.
like pages redirect, and it says validation error, like not started or something. I'm not really sure about that.
Okay. I mean, after 2 weeks with an expired domain, it could be quite a few things. I mean, I probably wouldn't even be thinking about any of this stuff,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. I mean, you've got an expired domain. I don't know the history of that domain, if it was used for anything nefarious, how quality the backlink profile is, when it stopped being used officially, in comparison to when you repurposed it. But if we're talking about 1 to 2 weeks, you got some ways to go, quite honestly, before really assessing what's going on.
Yeah, man. So it's basically the same answer as last week. You've waited 1 more week, so it's been 2 weeks now. But 2 weeks still is not a very long time for an expired domain. It can take much longer. So just keep moving forward. Keep adding some
It can
content to
take
the site. Keep adding some backlinks. Just it can take quite a while. So
that can take a couple, more like 2 to 3 months.
yeah,
So yeah, patience is key here, and then keep doing everything properly.
You know,
Adding
this
content. You can do backlinks,
this is the
etc.
downside to buying an expired domain versus an age domain, a domain that's already like up and going and basically is ready, right? Um, things can take longer, and maybe for some reason things just don't work. It does happen from time to time. But I'm not saying that, like, I don't want to scare you, so I probably shouldn't have even said that. But, 2 weeks, it's a very
Yeah,
short time.
yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what I just said. Just ignore that and keep moving forward, doing all the good stuff, and I'm sure
If
you're going to be just
you
fine.
if you want us to have a look at the domain itself, just to audit the quality of it, then feel free to pass it over to us. Now that we've scared you a little bit.
Whoops.
But yeah, 2 weeks with an expired domain is not enough time to really gauge what's going on. Sorry.
All right, guys. Looks like we're going to go ahead and end it there, which is cool. That stream actually has the most viewers here right at the end of the stream. While you're
Hey.
all still here, if you're on, and it's kind of cool because we were actually just talking about domains. But yeah, go check out our domains page on
Yeah.
sirlinksalot.co. Go check out our domains list right now. We've completely blown it out with an insane amount of new domains. So go have a look if you're in the market for some domains. They're an insane shortcut to basically adding a ton of new links to your project without having to build them because they're already there, right? So you can use them for building new websites. You can use them for 301s. You can use them for building PBN sites. Awesome stuff. We've also got a new niche edit product, which is live. And we haven't actually officially
Oh
announced
yeah.
any of this stuff yet. We're just saying it right now. I've got we had our low authority niche edit bulk packs, and we now have a step up from that. So before it was the bulk packs for the low authority were 10 to 50 RD, so they were quite low authority. These are 50 plus RD referring domains. So basically the same as kind of our level 1 niche edits, but there's not really a hard cap on the RD to at 100 like level 1s. But anyway, if you're looking to like diversify your backlink profile or hit a bunch of targets at one time, um, it's an insane tool for just getting a nice little blast of links from real websites.
Hmm.
Um, those are the two big ones. We got some more stuff coming up pretty soon with PBN as well as press releases, which is cool. I wanted to do press releases for a while. Oh, we just had a podcast that we dropped yesterday with Julian Goldie. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you probably know Julian Goldie. He's got a more popular channel than ours for sure. He talks a lot about AI stuff, AI content. He's got 8 AI kind of like test websites where he's doing all this stuff and testing tools and testing processes and all this kind of stuff. And he's a channel that I actually watch personally. And I always walk away with some little trick or whatever. Maybe I'm not doing the exact stuff that he's doing, but it kind of keeps me in the loop with like some AI stuff, which is cool. But yeah, we talked to him on the podcast about just what he's doing, what he's learned, it's kind of his favorite tools, his favorite processes. Definitely check that out as well. We've got another podcast coming up soon with Mr. Charles Float, where we're going to be talking about parasite SEO, which of course is something on a lot of people's minds because it just ranks so damn well. And you see all these affiliate SERPs that are just dominated by parasite SEO, and you can make tons of money without even having to build a website, right? So everyone likes that.
Tons. Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be a cool podcast that's going to be coming soon. And what else we got, Nick? Anything else, or those are the
Mm,
big stuff?
I think that's pretty much all the big stuff. Yeah. Mm, yeah, I think you nailed it. I don't think
Cool.
there's anything else, right? I mean, yeah, everything is rolling out.
And yeah, Chris is asking if we wants us to analyze his website. How do we do it? Chris, just send us an email at info@sirlinksalot.co, letting us know that you'd like your site added to the list for the live stream audit, and give us a little bit of information about what's going on or what you want us to look at, or what you've been doing to the site, maybe some problems you've been having, just that kind of stuff. And yeah, we'll get added to the list. And like always, we prioritize MLB clients and clients that are just paying customers in general, but we will get to everybody. You might just have to wait like 1 or 2 weeks before we get to yours. And that of course is completely free, and we do not reveal your site publicly when we're doing it. All right, guys, we're going to go and take off. Like always, like, comment, subscribe. Join us in Facebook, SEO Roundtable. We're in the group every day answering questions and whatnot, posting tips. You can also subscribe to our email list on our website, sirlinksalot.co, where we can notify of everything directly right away. And yeah, I guess that's enough for promotion. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See you later.